All right, folks, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered for Monday, January 28th, 2019, Senator Kamala Harris draws cheers from AKs in Columbus, South Carolina, as she spoke at their event today, on Friday, but the next day, of course, she launched her presidential campaign in Oakland, California, saying she is for the people. We'll break down the response thus far. A lot of folks, a lot of talk on social media about her criminal justice record, and some folks saying they will not support her. Is misogyny at play when it comes to Senator Kamala Harris? We'll break down. Former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown reveals he mentored and dated Harris. A lot of people are upset that he actually wrote about that. He will join us live on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Also, former NBC anchorman Tom Brokaw had some comments on Meet the Press this weekend. It ticked off lots of folks. He thinks Latinos must do a better job of assimilating into the United States. It did not go well for Tom Brokaw. We'll break it all down. Also, the movie Black Panther wins big at the SAG Awards, and Chadwick Boseman gives a great acceptance speech. We'll have it for you. And a major law firm announces its latest class of a dozen new partners, 11 men, 1 woman. And they supposedly are a great firm when it comes to diversity. We'll break that down too. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
All right, folks. Senator Kamala Harris of California continues her rollout of her presidential campaign after making the announcement on Good Morning America on MLK Day, and later, of course, a news conference at her alma mater, Howard University. She, of course, had a huge event in California, in Oakland, on Saturday, where she announced that she is indeed running for president. This is video, of course, of that particular rally there. Her slogan is for the people. And when you think about the announcements thus far, this is the largest campaign rollout that we have seen. Of course, it is her hometown. The crowd was estimated at around $20,000 people, as much bigger than the number of people who were there for Obama in 2007. But I was there in Springfield, Illinois, and trust me, it was cold as hell on that day. That kept a lot of folks from not being there. And so a lot of different, of course, issues that she talked about in her rollout. And here's what she had to say standing before the folks there in Oakland.
Let's remember when abolitionists spoke out and civil rights workers marched, their oppressors said they were dividing the races and violating the word of God. But Frederick Douglass said it best, and Harriet Tubman and Dr. King knew. To love the religion of Jesus is to hate the religion of the slave master. I'm running to fight for an America where no mother or father has to teach their young son that people may stop him, arrest him, chase him, or kill him because of his race. Let's also speak the truth, that too many unarmed black men and women are killed in America. Too many black and brown Americans are being locked up, from mass incarceration to cash bail to policing. Our criminal justice system needs drastic repair. Let's speak that truth.
Now, on Friday, Harris attended the AKA Pink Ice Gala in Columbia, South Carolina. She was there with her sorority sisters there in South Carolina. And, of course, they're going to play a crucial role to being foot soldiers for her campaign.
Stand on others' shoulders, those who came before us. But for we, the members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, we stand on the shoulders of women who were leaders who 111 years ago said to us that we must honor sisterhood and we must honor service. And that is the principle on which we gather, in which we stand. Service to all mankind. And when we look at where we are at this moment in the history of our country, I think our founders gave us the right charge. They said, stand together, take care of each other, and serve your country as leaders. And that's what we do today. And for the Pink and Green Community Service Foundation, I thank you for the work you do, the students that you support, the hundreds of thousands of dollars you give, knowing that our purpose here on earth will not be fulfilled if we don't create a path for others. My mother taught us long ago. She would say to me, Kamala, you may be the first to do many things, but make sure you're not the last. And that is truly part of the essence of our sorority, which is to stand together as sisters with our heads up, challenging others to do like we do, knowing that we must serve others and that our purpose on this earth will be fulfilled when we do it in our sisterhood. So to my sorors and the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, I thank you for all you do and the honor of being with you tonight. Thank you.
So over the last week, you really have had more attention paid to Senator Kamala Harris on the social media, in the media, than any of the other candidates out there. Now, also over the weekend, former California Assembly Speaker of the House and former Mayor of San Francisco, Willie Brown, also shared his thoughts by revealing in a column that he writes that he mentored and once dated Kamala Harris at the beginning of her political career. Now, social media was not happy about an ex telling stories and getting involved. And so, of course, I reached out to my frat brother, Willie Brown, to join the show. Brother Brown, glad to have you on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hello, Roland. How are you?
Always good to talk to you. And so I first got to ask you this. So I saw your piece where you talked about once dating Senator Kamala Harris, and people are really upset with you for even writing that. Why did you decide to do that?
Well, let me tell you. 9 different folk from the world of the media had called to ask me. We saw your picture here. You were in the LA Times. You were at the Academy Awards. And each time it was you and Kamala Harris, who is now married to someone and whom you clearly must have had some relationship with. So, of course, I dated Miss Harris 25, 30 years ago. So what? What has that got to do with anything? Is, well, you know, it's an issue. I said, well, fine. It's an issue, and it'll be out of the way long before you look at the incredible qualifications of this great potential president of these United States, period. That's why I did it. I did it to get it out of the way.
And so did you give her a heads up that, hey, Senator, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. People are asking me, and I can just knock it out of the way?
No, let me tell you, I didn't have to give a heads up. The New York Times gave a heads up. New York Times printed, one of those places printed a story, and the story was inaccurate, period. And when she was apparently approached, she had no comment. Well, you know, no comment is bullshit for me in this world, just like it is for you. And so consequently, I just decided, wait a minute, you asked me the question, I'm going to candid answer it. And I answered it for one, CBS, I think, or NBC, one of the two, and then I just wrote what I said when I answered the question.
And of course, there are some who are critical of you, trying to say, well, also for her, why was she dating this married man? Why is he taking credit for her career by saying that I supported her career? How would you respond to that?
Well, I did support her career, and yeah, I was married, but I have been separated before meeting her. I've been separated for 25 years. And I've been separated for almost 50 years, but I've been separated for 25 years. So the reference of separation clearly means absolutely nothing. For all practical purposes, one would never consider me as being a married person. Let me also tell you that it's kind of amazing, Roland, that she was elected mayor. She was elected district attorney of San Francisco, the first woman. San Francisco knew in detail of the previous relationship. They had been part of that, so to speak. She was then elected Attorney General of the state of California. Same knowledge. She was then elected U.S. Senator. The same knowledge. So there is no liability and no negative associated with it. It only becomes a negative in the minds of the people who want to stop her from achieving the work. Must not allow that to occur.
And there are others who, again, I'm reading different pieces, and they're saying, well, Willie Brown saying that he influenced her career. You're the longest-serving speaker in the history of the California Assembly, a major power broker in California politics and across the country. I would assume that there are other people whose career you also influenced over the years.
Well, all I can suggest to you is you call the governor of the state of California, Gavin Newsom, and say, who started your career? He will say, Willie Brown appointed me to the Board of Supervisors, and before that, he appointed me to the Traffic Commission, made me chair of the Traffic Commission. He did my career. You talk to Dianne Feinstein, and she will say, in 1969, when I first ran for the Board of Supervisors, no other elected official supported my candidacy except one, Willie Brown. You call Governor Jerry Brown, who was governor for 16 years, and you ask him specifically, what elected official endorsed and supported your candidacy single-handedly when no other elected official did when you ran for Secretary of State? He would say, Willie Brown. You call Arnold Schwarzenegger a Republican person who won the governorship, and you ask who among the Democrats supported your candidacy. He will say there was one person that made the difference in my candidacy. I went from being a Republican who could get maybe 12 to 15% of the African American vote to getting 30% of the African American vote against an incumbent member of the Treasurer's Office of California, and it was Willie Brown who did all of that. That's just a few of the folk that will lay out to you. I am about trying to find, in this democracy, Roland, quality people, black, white, women, men, persons who come from foreign countries, born there, but now raised here. And I'm proud, literally proud, of all those careers that I got invited to participate in. The individuals who ultimately achieve it, like Senator Harris, like Governor Newsom, like Senator Feinstein, they had the ability to do it. Somebody needed to open the door. I was fortunate enough in my own career to have people in the late 50s and early 60s open the door for me. The Alpha Phi Alpha organization did it for me. The NAACP did it for me. The International Longshoremen and Warehouses Union did it for me. I'm telling you, I got lucky. So literally, I owed it. And every one of those people I'm really proud of.
Got to ask you this. There have been a lot of people highly critical of her role as district attorney and attorney general. saying she has not been right on criminal justice issues. What would you say to her critics who say that her record as district attorney and as attorney general would disqualify her for a lot of Democratic voters?
Well, one of the most amazing things is, again, I cite you the achievement. This is a woman who's never lost an election. This is a woman who became the first woman in each one of the categories. There had never been a woman district attorney of San Francisco. Ignore the fact that she's black, because there had never been a black district attorney before or after her. Same with the attorney general. There'd never been in the state of California, 40 million people. This woman defeated the district attorney of Los Angeles County, a white Republican who was one of the most popular figures. He was envisioned to be the governor of this state, and she defeated him in that effort. And she just blitzed the whole operation as it relates to a U.S. senator. Only, I think, maybe the third or fourth black U.S. senator ever, and the second woman. Carol Moseley Braun was the first black woman out of Illinois, and Kamala Harris is the second black woman. So her record is impeccable, and she didn't get there by being in any way negative on any of her performances. Her performances have always reached the crescendo level, and she's been very smart in making sure that the justice system treated all of us equally, period. The criticism probably comes from folk who wanted her to twist the justice system and not do justice, but to somehow do something more than justice. Here's a woman that does justice, and then as soon as justice has run its course in guilt or innocent, she then does mercy. That's a marvelous, marvelous talent.
All right. Willie Brown, former mayor of San Francisco, California Assembly Speaker. We appreciate you, all that you've done. Thanks a bunch, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right, we'll see each other somewhere, Brother Martin.
Oh, yeah. It's going to happen. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. All right, folks. Thank you very much. Let's go to our panel. Avis Jones-DeWeaver, leadership strategist. Michael Brown, former vice chair, DNC Finance Committee. Monique Presley, principal, Presley Law Firm. Eugene Craig, CEO, Eugene Craig Organization. So first, I want to start with this. When you talk about, again, I've seen the criticism. Folks like, oh, he's taking credit for her success. Let me go back to 2007. Okay, Senator Obama announces he's running for president. The reality is he doesn't run for U.S. Senator unless Senate President Emil Jones says, I'm going to create a United States Senator. The reality is State Senator Obama was a backbencher. He was not one of the major power brokers in the Illinois Senate. He went to Emil Jones and said, hey, I'm thinking of running. You can make a U.S. Senator. Emil Jones was not considered an Illinois power broker because it was, at the time, it was House Speaker Mike Madigan who controlled the Democrats in the state. It was Mayor Daley in Chicago, and it was Rob Blagojevich who was the governor. Emil was considered the afterthought. He elevated Obama, had his name put on various bills, passed those bills that set up the run for the United States Senate. It's not rare in politics to have a sponsor. Yeah. And so I can tell you right, that's why I asked the question. It's a bunch of folks who, if you want to get your start, hey, Willie Brown, can you bless me? Why is that like a negative?
I don't see it as a negative. I do take umbrage with the way that social media has taken with the story instead of focusing on the blessing that Willie Brown, bestowed upon Kamala and helped boost her career legitimately, which, everybody on this panel knows. It's how the game is played. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here if in 2012, 2013, 2014, Dan Bongino doesn't give me his blessing in the MDGOP. I mean, I was one of the few Dan actually has endorsed in Maryland to do anything. And so it's the way the game is played. But, what I do see is that certain folk in the media, certain folk in social media are treating Kamala Harris the same way they would treat a black man, and go after the sexuality rather than focus on actual substance.
No, he made the point about him throwing it. He said, "Look, I got all these different questions. I wrote it. First of all, it was a very short article that he actually wrote, and from a political standpoint, That is what you do, Michael. You get it out of the way.
Full disclosure, because of my dad, I call him Uncle Willie. He's literally known me since I was probably 5 years old. However, I do not like how this was rolled out at all. I do think he owed Senator Harris a phone call so they could discuss how they may roll this out.
Got it.
I don't think it was fair to her to have to answer these questions in her first 3 or 4 days of running for president of the United States. So I'm a little disappointed.
Now, he said in the interview that she got the questions before he wrote the piece.
Correct. I just don't know if they communicated about what the answers would be to that. And it sounds to me like maybe she was a little taken off guard. That's hence why there's a social media backlash.
She got questions. She said no comment. Correct. He says he saw the no comment and was like, you heard what he said. He's like, that's bullshit. And then decided to go ahead and write the piece.
I'm a little disappointed.
I'll tell you what's bullshit, his answers that he just gave right here.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what's bullshit. Because here's the reality. He understands, I assume, as a person who lives on this earth, what sexism is. And as someone who understands what sexism is, he should have known from the very minute he put pen to paper what it would mean to say those things about a woman. He should have known the type of sexist attacks that she would be receiving on a day that was hers. It was the day that she was in her hometown to kick off her presidential campaign. And he has been, let's be clear, freaking irrelevant for decades. He took her moment in the sun to ride on her coattails to inject himself into her accomplishments. What was bullshit was everything he just said. He knew he was wrong. He was wrong. He is wrong. And everyone who's trying to say that this was something that he was doing to try to sort of get forward past this is not how you get past a controversy. This is how you stir up a controversy. And he's been in politics long enough to know that. And I would have had one question for him had I had the opportunity to ask him. I would want to ask him if his Russian mistress, who he's with right now, had anything to do with convincing him to come out on the very day that she announces for president. Because we know from the past 2 years how prolific Putin has been into influencing our elections. And it is not an unknown factor that Kamala had presidential ambitions for a long time. And it's also not unknown her stellar history. And so it seems to me that if Putin was forward thinking, and we clearly know from everything that he has done with sort of nurturing Trump for years, that he is forward thinking, that I would think that whatever money he paid to put that Russian woman in his path certainly paid off the other day.
Here was a piece that he wrote. Sure, I dated Kamala Harris, so what? And so he writes, I've been peppered with calls from the national media about my relationship with Kamala Harris, particularly since it became obvious that she was going to run for president. Most of them I have not returned. Yes, we dated. It was more than 20 years ago. Yes, I may have influenced her career by appointing her to 2 state commissions when I was Assembly Speaker. I certainly helped with her first race for district attorney in San Francisco. I've also helped the careers of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Governor Gavin Newsom, Senator Dianne Feinstein, and a host of other politicians. The difference is that Harris is the only one who, after I helped her, sent word that I would be indicted if I so much as jaywalked while she was DA. That's politics for you. End of column. Monique?
Benign. I understand where my sister is coming from, and I think the timing was not the best, but the words on the page are not harmful, and I believe that what will happen is what was claimed in your interview, and that now that the questions have been answered, people will move on. It's obvious, 1, this was before she was ever married. 2, as he just said, he had been separated for a couple of decades. He's just remained in this whole separated status. And 3, I'm sitting here because some people gave me a nod. I'm looking at one of them right now. So that's the way this game is played. And I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with him taking credit for that, because after somebody gives you the nod, you have to perform. It's still your performance and your talent and your ability. So everything that he said about her is true, that she was first black, first woman, and that she's never lost an election. And I hope what he said on this show gets replayed over and over and over again, because those really are the points. I think if he had done the same no comment that she did, and I don't disagree, as a crisis manager, she should have said no comment. But I think if he had said no comment, we would still be seeing a cycle of a story, because no comment, and he's right about it, means that there is a comment, but I'm not saying it. No comment, as you taught me, is a comment. So I like that he put it to bed. Do I like when he did it? Yeah, no. But I'm glad it's out there and it's finished because there's no there.
It's not just what he said. It's not just when he said it. It's what he said. If he would have said what he said on here in that column, we'd be having a completely different discussion
Like what?
right now.
No, like what? What?
He didn't say anything about how she had these personal qualities, the first this, the first that she was extremely intelligent, that she was the only black person to do this, not to mention the only woman. He did not praise her in those ways. It sounded to me like an overgrown, 16-year-old bragging about the woman that he just bedded to his boys. That's what it sounded like to me. And everyone, you would have to be a complete Martian from outer space not to understand the implications of this, specifically when you talk about a black woman. Given the history of black women in this country and how we are always hypersexualized, for him to sit there and do that and not consider that reality, to me is absolutely, I'm not even going to call it politically negligent. Beyond that, I think it was hateful. I think it was small. I think it was really damaging to her. Definitely. I mean, have you guys been reading the comments about her?
But actually,
people have been saying about her, not about her accomplishments.
But
actually,
the fact
that we all have mentors, because everybody understands that.
But
we all have
actually,
mentors. What people have been claiming is that she slept her way there.
No, actually,
anyone with 2 grains of salt would have been able to project that is exactly what people would say.
For 3 days, I've actually been monitoring most of the comments. Most of the comments have not been about this. Most of the comments have not been about. Avis, 1 second. Avis, 1 second. Avis, 1 second. Avis, 1 second. Most of the comments in the last 3 days have not been about Willie Brown. In fact, most of the comments.
I'm talking about the last 3 days.
1 second.
This just happened yesterday.
No, it didn't.
The other day.
No, it didn't. It happened Saturday.
Well,
Avis, 1 second. The date on the article is January 26th. Today's the 28th. She unveiled her campaign in Oakland on the 26th, okay, which is Saturday. What I've heard, and most of these comments that I've actually been seeing have not been about Willie Brown or her dating. It's really been about her record as DA.
Really?
And yes.
Have you looked at hashtag Willie Brown on Twitter?
No. What I've been looking at is, again, I've been following numerous people, and I have seen, especially a lot of black folks, lots and lots of critiques about her criminal justice record.
Yes.
So I've been seeing that as well, and which also causes me to raise that question, because some of the attacks on her regarding her criminal justice record, now you have Bernie supporters who are now coming in, and people are now saying. Then of course you see the comments being rolled out again by Hillary Clinton saying that there were attacks on her, and attacks on Kamala Harris are sexist attacks on Kamala Harris, similar to what happened to Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
So what do you make of, again, with this, with the criminal justice piece, and then with all of these things all being combined, where she's actually taken a lot more fire, really, than I think the other candidates, definitely Castro. Tulsi Gabbard, I don't even know what she's doing. What she announced, but she's not even running anything. Gillibrand, I'm really, other than her giving a Nan speech. So really, what I've seen is the only 2 people who, to me, are really, really visible out there consistently who are running is her and Elizabeth Warren.
Right.
The thing is this: I said last week that Kamala Harris is probably the blackest candidate we've had ever.
Whoa.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Well, let me finish. Let me finish. In a very long time.
Right.
In a very long time.
Right. Correct that. Because she ain't as black as Congressman Chisholm or Reverend Jackson.
Well, I agree.
Okay, go ahead.
A very long time.
Right.
Of this generation. But
which generation?
I'm talking millennial. I'm talking.
Thank you. All right.
Talking my generation.
Hold up.
Talking my generation.
No. Let me help.
Let me finish
you.
my thought.
Do that? No. Let me help you.
Thought.
If you're gonna say that again, why don't you say it in the last 3 election cycles?
Well,
there you go, right there. But don't say ever, because we know that ain't the case. But go ahead.
Well, last 3 cycles.
Go ahead.
Right? And the thing is this, right? What I've been arguing to people as a Republican is that let's not create a new hyper standard. folk aren't holding Beto, Biden, Gillibrand, none of these other folk to this standard.
But remember, remember, O'Rourke is not in, Biden's not in.
But they're pandering as if they are in.
No, but they're not in.
But what I'm saying is that
when you announce
the conversation around Kamala took place well before she got into the race. The conversations in Black Twitter around, oh, hey, her criminal justice record. Oh, hey, where's she at on this, that, and the third? When most folk couldn't even name something she did as a DA or AG for that matter.
But the intensity about one's record is totally different once you announce you're running for president.
I agree 100% with you there. But my argument is that if this is the energy that you're going to have for candidates, keep that same energy when all the white candidates get in who have actually, to the detriment, implemented rules, laws, and policies
like
that have hurt our policy, like the crime bill.
You go ahead.
I rolled my eyes across America at the not as black as. I'm already sick of it. I've been looking at 3 days worth of comments from everybody who wants to claim some proper rightful place in the black box that the white slave master put us in when they decided that if you weren't white, you were black. It is a social and legal construct. It was created by people who control the country who look like none of us. And they said, if you are other than us, you go in this box. So I'm not going to sit here and say that Senator Harris is less black than Reverend Jackson or less black than Shirley Chisholm or more black than Barack Obama. It is all at this point an irritant in my soul. We are all, according to this country, black. If one of us goes out on that street and gets stopped by a rogue cop, I guarantee you we'll all be equally black. Now, if she's going to run a campaign that is built on her record, she's going to have to explain some things. I understand, right, that as somebody who has a profession in the legal field, if you are a woman, it is harder for you than if you are a man. She's dealing with heat as a prosecutor, but frankly, the people who are getting that heat, they don't like prosecutors, period. If you put bras and sisters in jail, you're going to get that heat. But what I've said to the people who have been saying things to me on social media is, they're like, but if you would run, it would be different because you're down for the people. I'm like, let me help you.
But
if I was a defense attorney, which I am, all my life, there would be something to be said about me as a woman being a defense attorney and defending people and believing that the justice system means you get a proper defense. My sister and I right here have a good, healthy disagreement about what that means. So it's a womanhood issue. I can't say it any easier or harder than that. Eric Holder didn't deal with what Senator Kamala Harris is dealing with today. And he was a top cop. He was the highest cop in the land. And he was a prosecutor on every level before that. And he did not deal with the critique that she's getting from the HOTEP and the EMOTEP and the DOS and all of that mess today. It's an outrage.
She also was elected, Mike, in 2004. And I'm saying it for a reason, because, and again, so I need people to understand politics. She's elected in 2004, which is 15 years ago, okay? And when you're elected as a Democrat, as a DA, and you are going to seek higher office, there are different things that factor into decisions that you make, rightly or wrongly. Just like, so again, for everybody out there, so in 2004, or actually before that, Obama signed a questionnaire where he, as state senator, was fully supportive of same-sex marriage. Obama runs for the United States Senate. Then Obama is against same-sex marriage and said he believes marriage between a man and a woman. If you go back to the presidential debates in 2008, Joe Biden had the exact same position. Hillary Clinton had the exact same position. Fast forward to 2012, Biden gives an interview on Meet the Press endorsing same-sex marriage. Obama comes behind him in an interview with Robin Roberts, and then agrees with that as well. Then all of a sudden you see popular opinion shift. I'm saying all of that is because decisions that individuals make 15 years ago were not the same decisions that prosecutors today would make. I'm not explaining away Senator Kamala Harris's record. What I am saying is that the politics has changed. The emphasis in the country has changed in 2019 when it comes to the issue of law enforcement than it was in 2004. And so I'm willing to look at somebody and asking those questions, the same reality that Joe Biden is going to get when it was 3 years ago that Joe Biden doubled down on his view about the crime bill 3 years ago. But when he spoke a week ago on MLK Day, he admitted that he regretted his vote. Why? Because he's running for office.
You know, Senator Harris, like everyone else, is going to start running, including the 17 folks that ran the GOP in 16. Everyone ran for a local office at some point along the line. Obviously, there's stepping stones. But the national debate is always much greater. Senator Harris had been in tough races. I know Speaker Brown made it seem like she had cruised through these victories. Those were tough races she had in California for all those races, and she won. Those were very difficult.
Barely won the U.S. Senate race.
And these issues, like the one with Speaker Brown, never came up. The issues about her prosecutory record never came up. But now the spotlight is a little different. I think, fortunate enough to know Senator Harris, she is extremely smart. She will be able to overcome this, just like every other person that runs will have a different spotlight on them, except maybe for Senator Biden. And then as they go through the process, you know, I'm a big fan of the Biden-Harris ticket. You know, that's what I believe in. I think that's
Biden-Harris or Harris-Biden?
Either one is fine with me. But either way, I think those are the two. And as you go through this process, this long process, everyone's going to have to answer some very difficult questions. Senator Cruz went way after Beto, but I'm sure there's some other stuff he's going to have to answer, assuming he gets in. Same with Senator Booker. He's going to have to answer some questions when he gets in. Everyone, and this is just her turn. Let me just go back to Speaker Brown. I just didn't like how he rolled it out without consultation with the person that matters, Senator Harris, before he made a statement.
Roland,
Go ahead.
I agree with you in part that positions can change over time. There's 15 years, but there's something else that's changed, and that's the law. A prosecutor's obligation is to uphold and enforce the law of the land as it is. And, and the law of the land.
But that's not my point. Laws changing are also a result of the people shifting and climate change.
But that's a very different thing than her position changing, because when you look at her record from even back then, even though the death penalty was the law of the land, she never enforced it and asked for it. Even though she could have put people in jail for nonviolent offenses, she started a program to offer anti-recidivism and job training for people who had nonviolent offenses. So, and even when you look at the issue with the lab tech, people keep saying that the cases got turned over. No, she dismissed cases of people who were probably guilty because there was an issue with the evidence. So I think we have to get down in the weeds and understand what her job was. And there are people who just can't stand the job of a prosecutor.
Which is why, Avis, the point is, it was so funny. I did a video last week when I was talking about doing a real analysis in true vetting.
Right.
All these different people, all the ADOS folks, lost their mind, and then I'm gonna clap back. First of all, I don't care what the hell they do. I really don't. I mean, it's like, if you want to go on your YouTube channel or your Twitter account and say whatever, that's fine. The point I'm making is, every candidate is going to get a thorough vetting. Yeah. You've already seen Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard roll her deal out and apologize for her LGBT positions in Hawaii. Gillibrand, I'm telling Biden, just because he gave that speech at NAN, he is going to have to, if he decides to run, deal with that 1994 crime bill. And so what happened? But we also have to deal with the reality of the amount of sexism that existed against Hillary Clinton. Now, there are people who could not stand Secretary Clinton flat out. But we cannot deny that there were also folks who were like, no, I am not down with a woman being president. So that is also going to be a part of this whole conversation as well.
Absolutely. It's like a perfect storm. And, you know, what I...
Black and woman. And prosecutor.
Exactly. So she has all of these sort of mountains she has to overcome. I think the thing that has gotten some people, like me, a little annoyed is that I do see a different level of scrutiny to her, even as compared to the people who have already announced. So, you know, people are asking things like, where is her black agenda? I'm like, she's a candidate. It's not her responsibility to have a black agenda. You put together a black agenda, and then you make sure that you hold up all the candidates to that agenda.
I will disagree.
It's a little bit
I will disagree with that.
Well, if you're going to ask her, why wasn't that asked about Elizabeth Warren?
No, right. But that's also the point. The point there, which is why I also said, look, y'all, if you running and you black, you are not going. See this? You're not going to get the same runway that Obama got, okay? Because the reality is there were things that people wanted of him, but didn't say anything, and now they regret it. And see, I love the people out there who are also saying, "Oh, Roland, you new to this," which is hilarious. Because for all you want to be just woke your punk asses up on the black agenda, when you've run 3 black newspapers, you understand black agenda. When you've been news director and morning anchor of a black radio station, you understand black agenda. When you're the first editor of BlackAmericaWeb.com, you understand black agenda. When you're the news editor for Savoy Magazine, you kind of understand black agenda. When you produce for major broadcasting cable network, later the Black Family Channel, you get black agenda. And when you had a Sunday morning show on TV One for 4 years and a daily show on TV One for 4 years, you get black agenda. And when you've had 11 different black media experiences, you get black agenda. So for all y'all new ass folks who just sign up for a YouTube channel, y'all are new to this black agenda conversation, because all you gotta do is read the resume, and then some of y'all might want to get educated. And now the reason I'm saying it's legitimate to ask those questions, but you also ask those questions of everyone. I will also say the reason she is getting the level of heat that she's getting right now, because she's a serious candidate.
She's right, exactly.
She right now, Senator Kamala Harris right now is a top 3 candidate.
Absolutely.
That's why she's getting that. So again, if she wasn't a serious candidate,
she wouldn't be
ain't nobody talking about her.
The thing is this.
Go ahead.
She matched Bernie's first day record from 2016. She's had her
in terms of raising $1.5 million in the first 24 hours.
$1.5 million first 24 hours. The more important thing is her kickoff matches Trump's biggest rally of 2016. Her 20,000 people matches his Alabama rally. So if she comes out the gate like
Oakland.
And that was in Oakland. And so she coming out the gate like that, she's front runner. She's front runner.
But Roland, can you decode for the black folks what a black agenda really is? Because she laid out plank after plank after plank that disproportionately affect the black community, and people seem like they can't even really hear that. Like when you talk about Medicare for all, when you talk about tax cuts, when you talk about disproportionate sentencing, all of those things directly and disproportionately affect the black community.
Here's why you're having that kind of pushback. And I'm telling you, it is the Obama effect.
Yeah.
The frustration for black people. Oh, also, I'm sorry. When you also written for Ebony and Essence. No, because the reason the reason I'm also saying that, I do recall writing a piece that ran in January of 2009 for Essence, where I said, just because he is elected does not mean that what we want gets done.
Right.
We have to make sure to push him to make it happen. And so, when you, to this whole point about the black agenda, there are some people where the only thing they define as the black agenda is she going to publicly support reparations?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the only thing they talk about. The Obama effect is when Obama kept saying, rising tides lift all boats. That angered a lot of black folks because, on another hand,
But it was true.
no. But one is, we can debate. But another hand is that he gave previous speeches where he talked about, where he said, I can't do things just for black folks, but then in other speeches, consult the 2012 speech, National Urban League Convention, where he talked about having targeted programs for those most in need. And so for black folks, it's like, well, if that's the case, where's the targeted the unemployment program for those most in need?
Right.
And so when folks say black agenda, again, for all y'all new-ass black people, let me take you back to Maynard Jackson. Maynard Jackson had the concept of every African American in America having a business-sized card that can go in any wallet that said these are the black agenda, and so we could ask any black person, anybody running for office, your position on this. So to Avis's point, when you say black agenda, that's really defined by the person who's asking the question. Mm-hmm. So yes, the onus of a black agenda is really upon the organization or the entity or the group asking those questions. So the group that deals with black home ownership, they are going to have very specific questions for Senator Kamala Harris. The groups that deal with criminal justice are going to have very specific conversations. The groups that deal with health are going to have very specific conversations. And so that's what you're going to have there. But for all these other people, yes, who go, oh, where's her black agenda? As I kept saying, for a week in, no politician is going to lay out expansive position papers on different groups. Those things are actually evolved over time. And so usually when you roll a campaign out, you have general themes that are universal themes because you are not talking to individual groups.
But she went out on a limb. She went so far out, she made me a little nervous. I mean, she was very specific about things that affect the African American community in a way, to me, that if she wasn't trying to wrap her arms around it, she could have just left off and saved for when people are pressing her on those issues. So I was thankful that she did that up front.
But folks want to actually hear black. Let's just be real on it. Yeah. They actually want to just hear black.
She did.
She did that yesterday. No.
Came all the way out.
No, you understand. When I say they want to hear, that's all they want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you got it's understanding.
Nobody else.
It's understanding what some people are talking about and what they're asking for in this whole deal. And again, I go back to the Obama effect. There are a significant number of people, and let me say this: this is not just Hotep. It's not just ADOS. It's not just black nationalists. It's not just, no. There are a lot of African Americans who are on Capitol Hill, who are black CEOs, who are black small business owners, who are black folks in academia and other areas, who, although you have not heard them publicly go there, they were disappointed in the 8 years of Obama. Mm-hmm. So let's just be real clear, okay? Since we're going to sit here and just be real honest, okay? What you're seeing with Senator Kamala Harris, what you're going to see with Senator Cory Booker, what you potentially will see with former Attorney General Eric Holder, what you would have seen with Governor Deval Patrick, are black folks saying, we screwed up. We were quiet for 8 years. We sat here and mobilized and raised money and knocked on doors because we got hyped about a black president. Mm-hmm. And I long said, and again, feel free to go pull the tape. I said for a long time that black folks were the only ones who were left at the inauguration parade looking like this here. We got a black first family. Now everybody else left. Now I told y'all in the first 60 days, LGBT community gave Obama a 54-page agenda for what they wanted. Black organizations, and don't act like I don't know what I'm talking about because I was there. 5 years after Obama's first elected, gathered at a hotel across the street, Washington Hilton, where they assembled to put together their black agenda, and then took 9 months typing it up before we got a copy of it. Don't act like I wasn't there because I was in the room at the news conference. So what you're seeing is, you're seeing folks saying, I need to hear some stuff now before I invest in you over anybody else, because frankly, I screwed up last time.
Yeah, that's not like they were left empty-handed.
No,
they may have
I know that,
because they didn't get everything they wanted.
But I'm
not going to stand for people acting like in 8 years they didn't end up with the best unemployment rate that we've ever had in the entire history, like of black unemployment rates. It's a little ridiculous. Healthcare. Who do they think that disproportionately affects? Students being able to get their parents' insurance while they're still in college. These are poor people, black people.
Right. But there were some
issues.
fundamental issues. First of all, one of the most chaotic decisions they made came the Parent Plus decision, and when it came down in August of 2012, that led to upwards of 15,000 HBCU students not being able to come back, led to significant funding shortages of those HBCUs that they still are having to deal with. We still saw, before Obama came in, 53% of black wealth wiped out due to the home foreclosure crisis, and his housing programs were not effective. Sean Donovan was a HUD secretary, came on my show, Washington Watch 3 different times with a new plan. I said, Sean, if you hear a new plan, that means the previous two didn't work, bro.
Right.
And so there were things there that black folks wanted to see. They wanted to see. I remember sitting in the Treasury Department being told that minority firms outperformed white firms with the handling of TARP dollars. And then all of a sudden, I went, well, hell, that means we're going to get more money to manage?
No.
The answer was no. And so there were some legitimate concerns. I just think that I want you to say viciousness, but this really like what you going to do is really a result
I agree with
of a lot of black folks not doing it with Obama and then being frustrated by saying what happened. I'm just saying that's what I'm saying. Final comment.
Look at the reverse of what's happened with number 45. His base asked him to do stuff, and he does it just for them.
Absolutely.
He could care less about the rest of America. He cares about his base, and they sent him stuff. We don't want you to comment about Congressman King. He didn't comment. We want you to do that, and he does it. So that's 30% of people.
Monique the neighbors.
I'm still, President Harris 2021. That's what we're probably going to end up with.
Monique?
The thing that I would hope that as black folks who ever consider themselves black would understand is it is a big deal, and thank you, Avis, we talked about this via Twitter, that she is running.
Yeah.
You don't get this far with this kind of big splash, with this backing, with this money by accident. And if people can't just take a beat and celebrate that, then we are missing an opportunity to recognize history and her story. And we really need to get that together.
Avis?
Just finally, obviously it is fair to critique every candidate's record. But it is completely unfair to only look at one side of that record and use that to sort of disqualify her in terms of her blackness or in terms of her ability to be someone who could be an asset for the black community and the nation as a whole. Be fair about what you're doing. Look at the full context of her record before you sit there and try to throw her under the bus.
Well, again, and that's what it is going to require, real, thoughtful examination of record. That's pro, that's con, whatever you actually want to call it. And so that's one of the things that is going to be critically important. So that's one thing that we also are going to do. Look, folks, you just have folks announcing. Yeah. Okay? You only have 3 people who've actually announced they're running. Many have said exploratory committee. And so we're going to be using this platform to really go through folks' record and take the time and also not get involved in the BS. I'm not dealing with people's emotions. I'm not dealing with people and their agendas. I'm not dealing with people and all the sexism and the racism. No, the record is the record. And somebody has to be willing to say, this happened, and ask the question, why did this happen? Do you agree with it or not? And we'll see what the answers are. All right, folks, got to go to a break. We'll be back on Roland Martin Unfiltered in just a moment.
The best way to live in this world is to live above it. Poet Sonia Sanchez.
Hashtag HBCU Giving Day. You see I'm wearing Clark Atlanta University sweater, so I got the red on today. So I did my show from there last year. They hooked me up with this. So if you want to support Clark Atlanta, go to cau.edu to support Clark Atlanta. We want to make sure all of you graduates of Clark Atlanta, you're also giving back to support your university. All right, folks. Fighting allergies. As I told you, of course, a lot of us are focused on getting healthy in 2019, and one of the ways we can do that is by doing the cleanse. And so the last 20 days, I've been doing the D-Herbs cleanse. Lord have mercy. All raw vegetables, fruits, and nuts. And so hasn't been too bad. I've done it before. And so I ended up losing about 18 pounds total doing it. And for a lot of us, again, we're getting, for your core, you want to just be healthier, you want to have more energy. And so the folks at D-Herbs, they're partnering with us. And so what you can do is go to dherbs.com. You can actually use the promo code Roland if you want to do the cleanse. They have 27 different cleanses, and you can do some 10 days, some 20 days, some shorter, some longer. And so also they have it for weight loss, all kind of different cleanses that can help you out. And so we want you to, again, use the promo code Roland by going to dherbs.com. A.D. Dolphin, of course, is the CEO of D-Herbs, got with a number of herbal specialists and put together this whole concoction. And again, it's called the D-Herbs Full Body Cleanse. And when I say full body, it's full body. And so again, painless. It wasn't painful doing, but you did have to have some discipline, of course, not eating processed foods or fried foods or anything along those lines. And so you can also, trying to get rid of that toxic buildup, be sure to give them a call, again, at the number here, 1-866-4D-HERBS, 1-866-4D-HERBS, and use, again, the promo code Roland for your discount at checkout. And so we'll be talking to A.D. Dolphin soon right here on the show about that. And so certainly tried. We thank them for being a partner, Roland Martin Unfiltered. All right, folks, let's talk about assimilation. Yesterday on Meet the Press, former ABC anchorman Tom Brokaw, let's say, stepped into it when they were talking about the real reason behind Donald Trump's wall. Well, just go ahead and press play.
And a lot of this we don't want to talk about, but the fact is, on the Republican side, a lot of people see the rise of an extraordinary, important new constituency in American politics, Hispanics, who will come here and all be Democrats. Also, I hear when I push people a little harder, I don't know whether I want brown grandbabies. I mean, that's also a part of it. It's the intermarriage that is going on and the cultures that are conflicting with each other. I also happen to believe that the Hispanics should work harder at assimilation. That's one of the things I've been saying for a long time. You know, that they ought not to be just codified in their communities, but make sure that all of their kids are learning to speak English and that they feel comfortable in the communities. And that's going to take outreach on both sides, frankly.
That's too bad.
Okay, Brokaw tried to clean that thing up with a series of tweets, y'all. This is what he tweeted. I feel terrible. A part of my comments on Hispanics offended some members of that proud culture. Finally, I am sorry. I never intended to disparage any segment of our rich, diverse society, which defines who we are. Then he also said, finally, I'm sorry I failed to convey my strong belief that diversity, dynamic, and inclusive is what makes America. Joe Scarborough, he tweeted that, Tom Brokaw's covered the civil rights movement his whole career, and so he's apologized, essentially give the guy a break. So let's unpack this. Okay, here's what Tom Brokaw didn't say. Now, maybe, Tom, if you had watched this show or watched my previous show, you would have had the proper language. But see, the reality is, and look, Tom Brokaw's a nice guy. He's a nice guy, okay? Great journalist. But the blind spot of white journalists and white media executives is they don't want to criticize white people.
Yep.
Okay? They don't want to challenge white people. Okay? The real deal here is, I keep saying it, it's the name of the book I'm working on. I can't wait till we go ahead and get this book published. This is white fear. What he said was white fear. They are afraid of black and brown people. Oh my God, I don't want any of these brown babies. What that means is, I don't want my white kid dating and marrying somebody Latino. I don't want them dating or marrying somebody black. Look, you can sit here and say, I ain't dating nobody white or Latino or whatever, but guess what? The numbers have exploded since the 1960s in terms of interracial marriages, okay? White people, it ain't enough of y'all. Y'all stop having babies. Your birth rate is lower than anybody else's. Your death rate is going to surpass the annual birth rate in about 10 states in the next 2 to 3 years. You can't blame black people for that one. You can't blame Latinos for that one. That's on y'all, because y'all stopped knocking the boots. So don't look at us. Okay? No, that's the case.
Okay, but I frankly believe that he said exactly what you were saying in the first half of his comments, which was problematic. And I feel like that's when all of the white folks clutched their pearls, because he told a family secret.
Right.
When he said they don't want any Latino grandbabies, and that's what they're afraid of. And he was being very honest about that. And I think he even knew that's a problem. They're saying they don't want that. And then the second part, it wasn't just really that it was racist, if you want to say it was racist. It was just wrong, right? In that they do and are assimilating more and more. Many of them don't even know what it is to speak Spanish as opposed to English.
Language television networks targeting Latinos. It's like, dude, what the hell are you talking about?
We have a Ted Cruz who literally forgets that he's Hispanic most days of the week.
Right. I mean,
that's how simulated.
No, Jim Acosta said, Jim Acosta said, I'm of Cuban heritage, and I don't even speak Spanish. Is that assimilation good enough for you?
I mean, the thing is, Brokaw, it should issue a Brokaw's, full statement of this. He couldn't just leave it there with telling the honest truth about how America really feels.
It's like, I got something to say about y'all too.
His frontal lobe failed him for the next.
No, it was like, okay, I checked white people. Okay, I need to check Latino.
Feel good again.
No, exactly. What I really think he was doing was he was trying to shift the blame from white people for that belief.
Yes.
And blame Latinos for it by saying there's something wrong with you. That's why they don't want the brown.
And he said, we can't codify. I think that's what he used. He said, by in terms of being in your own environment, but that's y'all fault.
Yeah.
Because Tom, if white folks didn't have housing segregation in America, you wouldn't have that problem. And let's be real honest, the only reason black people are not like Latinos and Asians, because y'all white folks made us stop using our African native tongue. I mean, let's just be real here. And so America's history is Italians moving into neighborhoods around other Italians and speaking Italian, but also speaking English.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with other cultures. If you want to talk about Dominicans or Puerto Ricans or whatever, I mean, that's a part of it. But what he was also getting at, Michael, is really what was the fundamental issue here. White folks saying, look, because this is what assimilation, this is what assimilation really means. We really need y'all to act more white.
Yeah.
No, that's the,
what's
no,
crazy?
because we gotta put that on the table.
I agree.
Because see, the problem is they keep saying, no. What he meant was our cultures of that. No. Because like Britt Hume took offense, and I tweeted. I said, Britt, why don't you go ask the black people at Fox News how black people have had to assimilate?
Yep.
Assimilation for us is I need you to change your hair. I need you to change your tone. I need you to change how you dress, because we have been conditioned since August of 1619 to make white people comfortable. We have had to strip ourselves of our essence in order to make them more comfortable. That's why you couldn't be a black woman for all of these years. And despite changes, you couldn't be a black woman and walk up in a Fortune 500 company with Avis's hair. You couldn't. They'd be like, no, her ass ain't getting promoted. No, that's just been, look,
it's the truth.
Black enterprise. Earl Graves was on record. You could not have locks if you wanted to intern at Black Enterprise, because Earl Graves said, you want a job in corporate America? They not going to take locks, so I'm getting you ready now. Since y'all want to go to HBCU business schools.
Yeah. Yep.
That's so ridiculous.
Go to no, it's not ridiculous.
It is.
It's the reality of these institutions saying,
assimilate.
Do you want to get the job or not?
Boom.
Do you want to move forward or not? Because this is what we're dealing with.
Right, and so when he says assimilation, see, they keep having this speaking Spanish conversation. I'm like, no. That thing is way deeper than that. It is stripping people of color of who we are to say, we need y'all to act more white. And we all know what acting white means and what their rules are to be accepted to move forward.
But the thing is this,
No, go, Michael.
You know, it's interesting whether it was wrong, racist, or both. What I heard him saying is this, trying to be slick about it, this is what they're thinking. Let me tell you what they're thinking. Right. Well, even though it could be what he was thinking too.
Right.
But I just found it.
What he was thinking.
I thought he was trying to be slick
said,
about
it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right.
And then when he got the pushback, he said, "Oh man, I better clean this up."
Right.
And obviously it's too late, because that's where, when you said clutching the pearls, that's what people are actually thinking.
Well, and
he's having the wrong assimilation conversation.
Huh?
He's having the wrong assimilation conversation. The conversation he needs to be having is with middle America. He needs to be having with folk that, you know,
the thing is, we don't use a mainstream media phrase. You said the conversation with middle America.
Well, he needs to have a conversation with white folk.
Thank you.
That live.
No, hold up. But again, me stopping you is proving my point.
Yeah.
Right.
We have been assimilated to the point that we can't even say white people.
Right.
That's when we have been assimilated to go, no, the Midwest,
Right.
middle America.
Right.
There are black people who literally live in middle America,
Right.
but we ain't talking about them.
But the conversation he needs to be having is with white people about assimilating to 2019 and what American culture, American society looks like in 2019.
But you can't have that conversation when the executive suite at NBC looks like middle white America.
I agree.
All this, I'm telling you, all this back and forth is simply, can y'all please make us comfortable? That's the real deal. What he did not say is, white folks, I need y'all to assimilate to everybody else. I need you to get out of your comfort zone. I go back to Rod Dreher writing an article in the New York Post saying, Aaliyah, who the hell is Aaliyah? Why does she get a horse-drawn carriage funeral in New York? It's not like she was Madonna. Who is she? Oh, we lit his ass up when he wrote that piece, and then they apologized. But again, that's white America.
Yeah.
White America, the whole deal is, we don't know you. We ain't never heard of you. Oh, unless you Oprah, Michael Jordan, Tiger, or Beyonce. It's like you get to a certain level, white America say, okay, now we know who you are.
Now we can accept you.
That's real. The assimilation in America is really assimilating into white culture. When we keep hearing our values are changing. No, your white values are changing. That's what's changing.
Well, you're exactly right, because we still live in a society that, unfortunately, undergirding it is the myth of white supremacy. And so white supremacy will be protected at all costs. The issue, though, is that the reality is that our demographics as a nation is changing. White numeric majority is coming to an end. And let me just tell you, I've already told my children, keep
they
me
can't
on
handle it.
child support, on life support, Lord have mercy, keep me on life support until that last black or brown baby is born to tip the scales, because it will happen in the not too distant future. And so it is this sort of panic that has led to the rise of a Trump. Yeah. It's this sort of panic that leads to those conversations that he was giving us an insight on. Mm-hmm. They know that their days as a numeric majority is dwindling. And if they can no longer be the numeric majority, they still want to be the cultural normalcy. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're trying to protect.
Well, I'm telling you right now, they can sit here and run their miles all day. The problem they're going to have is we ain't going back. No. We're not going back. It's not going to happen, which really was something that Chadwick Boseman really dealt with last night. Of course, Screen Actors Guild had the SAG Awards on TNT last night, and the award for Best Ensemble Cast. Yeah, that's called a transition. That's called a segue. Right. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing here. This ain't my first rodeo. Of course, the award for Best Ensemble Cast went to Black Panther, and here was Chadwick speaking on behalf of the whole cast.
You know, when I think of going to work every day and the passion and the intelligence, the resolve, the discipline that everybody showed, I also think of two questions that we all have received during the course of multiple publicity runs. And one is, did we know that this movie was going to receive this kind of response? Meaning, was it going to make billions of dollars? Was it going to make $1 billion? Was it going to still be around during this award season? And the second question is, has it changed the industry? Has it actually changed the way this industry works, how it sees us? And my answer to that is to be young, gifted, and black. Because all of us up here know, and Andy, we include you too. Man, you got great timing, boy. Great timing. To be young, gifted, and black, we all know what it's like to be told that there is not a place for you to be featured, yet you are young, gifted, and black. We know what it's like to be told to say there's not a screen for you to be featured on, a stage for you to be featured on. We know what it's like to be the tail and not the head. We know what it's like to be beneath and not above. And that is what we went to work with every day, because we knew not that we would be around during award season or that it would make $1 billion, but we knew that we had something special that we wanted to give the world, that we could be full human beings in the roles that we were playing, that we could create a world that exemplified a world that we wanted to see. We knew that we had something that we wanted to give, and to come to work with every day and to solve problems with this group of people every day with this director. That is something that I wish all actors would get the opportunity to experience. If you get to experience that, you will be a fulfilled artist. Now, the question of, what's that second question? The question of, you know, will we be around? Don't give me the music. The question of will we be around during award season, I just have to say, you know, it's a pleasure to be celebrated by you, to be loved by you. And one thing I do know, did it change the industry? I know that you can't have a Black Panther now without a 2 on it. So we love you and we celebrate it.
And the Screen Actors Guild, folks, they also had this part where they talk about what it means to be an actor. And it was great for them to showcase this brother. We remember seeing him on The Cosby Show, Jeffrey Owens.
So somewhere in the middle of the road of my life, I found myself in the dark wood of unemployment and debt. But instead of switching careers like a sane person, I took a job at a local Trader Joe's to see if I could hang in there with my career. And it's actually worked out pretty well. I'm Jeffrey Owens, and I am an actor.
All right, so so the thing about, again, and real quick before I go to the panel, because I know we're over time with our show, but when it comes to this movie, when it comes to other movies, when you talk about what is happening, we are not going backwards.
Yep.
Okay. Although you could turn on cable news right now, and you're not seeing a lot of black folks in prime time. You ain't seeing us in daytime. You're not seeing Latinos as well. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do something for y'all. I'm gonna go find the video when Bernard Shaw got the Lifetime Achievement Award from NABJ in 2007 when he gave a speech. He said, "White men, your time is almost up." Trust me, I'm gonna get that video. But this is really where we are. Black Panther winning that SAG. People need to understand that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Okay, and there are folks who are gonna fight this thing because that's power, that's money. Politically, it's come down to resources, it comes down to issues, and so for us, like I tell people all the time, why I support school choice. I don't give a damn what anybody says. I support every form of education because I want us to be in position to take power. I don't want us to, frankly, be like South Africa is, where you got numerical numbers, but you're still grappling over with power and resources. Go down the line.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think, my generation gets to stand on the shoulders of a lot of you guys and folk that have come before you guys. We have to be prepared when that shift, as we're living in it. It's a living history. When the shift is complete, we have to be ready to take power. Have to be ready to be, change agents.
Right. The scariest part for the Power Center about a movie like Black Panther being successful is it wasn't successful just because black people love the movie. It was successful because everybody loved the movie. It's little white kids saying Wakanda forever. And so
just like we saw their movies and like, okay, good movie.
Yes, right. and that is the shift. And there are power-hungry people at the top, and then there's fringe like Trump's base. But the rest of who is really America is on board with where we're going. So I feel like we really, as a people, just have to hold on and recognize it's hard right now because we're at the end of it, but we're at the change.
Just like President Obama. He didn't win because of black vote. He won because of a lot of votes, mostly white. In the Hollywood, the first part of your question, I think we also, yes, we have to support black productions and black directors and black actors, but we also have to be prepared to say, you know what, that movie was sorry. It was terrible. As well as we say, wow, Black Panther was great. It's okay. That's part of the evolution of us, about America changing, and that's okay.
We also, though, need to understand that there is value and there's uniqueness and there's a level of brilliance that's associated with our blackness that we should not shy away from. One of the, that is a selling point. I mean, one of the reasons why this movie was so popular is because we had not seen a black superhero movie like this. And there was a yearning for this. There was a hunger for it. So to see these black characters, as he mentioned, in a three-dimensional way on screen, to see those strong black women, not as some sort of sexual innuendo, but as his protectors, that was groundbreaking. And so to lean into our blackness and understand that that we have power in that, not only at the movie theater, but also at the vote. And we need to take advantage of it.
Well, I will say this as my final comment. Over the weekend, I had posted a series of tweets dealing with the whole issue of the state of black media. And if you actually look at the 8 existing black cable networks, some that are black-owned, others that are not black-owned, every week they put out 1,344 hours of content. Let me say that again. I'm going to name them. BET, BET Her, TV One, their new network, Clio TV. You have Aspire, you have Bounce, you have own, you have revolt. Now, recognizing that Revolt, they actually air The Breakfast Club. They simulcast The Breakfast Club. But out of those 8 networks, out of 1,344 hours, there is not a single hour dedicated to a news show that targets African Americans. Why am I saying that? Because if you look at a Ryan Coogler, who everyone is supporting because of Black Panther, Ryan Coogler was affirmed at American Black Film Festival. Mm-hmm. Not Sundance, not Tribeca, not Cannes, American Black Film Festival. When you look at Tiffany Haddish, Kevin Hart, things that they're doing right now, then you think about a Will Packer, affirmed at an American Black Film Festival. When you think about, I love people talk about the black folks you see who are on cable television. And when you see Angela Rye, when you see Tiffany Cross or David Swirlick, you see, I can go down the line. The question is, when people were commentators, where did they first get a shot on shows that I hosted? I'm saying all of that because for all of the greatness of a Black Panther being done by Disney Marvel, for all the greatness of seeing somebody black on a mainstream cable news outlet or broadcast outlet, you have to go back to where did they get the shot to be able to show what they can do. Which means that we have to have our places that are creating the very platforms that will actually serve as a launching pad for folks to go to the next level. In the Willie Brown interview, he didn't say a white politician elevated him when he first started out. He said his fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, and the NAACP. I'm saying all of that is because as we are moving to a new America, a redefined America, we still have to understand that you have to have platforms that are speaking to our issues and our concerns, that are providing opportunities for us to be able to have the kind of conversations that we had today. The assimilation conversation we had, MSNBC will not allow that to happen. Jeff Zucker and CNN will not allow that to happen. It will not happen with Suzanne Scott and Fox News. It will not happen on any of these networks because they don't look like us. Which also means that we also have to support us. I didn't go to the HBCU, but I'm wearing the Clark Atlanta sweater to give them publicity, and hopefully you can give to them. So I'm laying all of this out so we understand that while we are talking about moving and operating in different spaces, we still better take care of home. Mm-hmm. Because see, before you get to be tapped on the shoulder to direct Black Panther, you got to be able to do Fruitvale Station.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to be able to do a short. Before you're able to go to a major law firm, become a partner, you know what? You better have somebody who said, I got to be sure to position you as an intern in my firm when you're in college. I'm saying all of that because we still have to fund our freedom. We still have to support what is ours, and we still must be in control of the narrative, because the other thing is this here. By being in those spaces where you get a shot, they're also affirming you and your point of view. And so if Eugene or Monique or Avis or Mike, if they're on this particular show, then let's say they're starting out, well, then they can make mistakes and be coached and be trained versus discarded other places. Yeah. Because they're being affirmed, they're being nurtured, they're being shaped, they're being molded. And I dare say, it's a shame, out of all those 8 black cable networks, if there's not 1 hour. I don't care about a special. I don't care about, something happens, a Freddie Gray, let's do a town hall. No, We must be informing our people every single day and every single week of what is happening in our world. We should not be in a situation where we are depending upon CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and ABC and NBC and CBS and the New York Times, USA Today and Wall Street Journal to be shaping the narrative by which we discuss these issues. I fully expect every single person who's running for president, and we also try to deal with Trump's people, to have a conversation on this show, whether physically here or go where they are, because they need to be talking to us. We should not only have to ascertain what they think when they're appearing on the rest of those networks. And so I say to those network owners, those 8 black networks, you're doing a disservice to the next generation of black children, because what we are essentially doing is cultivating a group of people who only watch award shows, comedies, dramas, and crime shows, and we're not putting anything else into their system, and we're leaving it up to somebody else to do. In essence, what they're saying is we are only going to feed black people, we're only going to sow seeds of entertainment to have them laughing and giggling, as opposed to have them thinking and learning. Now, somebody out there watching right now say, oh, Roland, you're bitter because TV won't cancel your show. No. Because what I'm saying right now, I say it on TV One.
Yep.
I said it on the network. So this is no different. But I want us as black consumers to understand that if we continue to only support those who have us laughing and crying and not educating and not being informed, well then, whose fault is that? If we allow Bennett College to fail, whose fault is that? The president was on our show and she said 20 to 30% of Bennett College graduates give. Well, the 70 to 80% who graduated, what the hell are y'all doing? See, I know we go, yeah, but 20, 30% is high. Yes, relatively speaking. What I'm saying is this show matters because even though it's 2019 and we're moving forward to a different America, we had better not take for granted having the space to be able to have the kind of conversations that we do, because if they go away, then we can only blame ourselves because we didn't support it when they were there, and then we're begging somebody else to tell our story. And that's nothing worse than asking somebody else to tell your story. Be sure to support Roland Martin Unfiltered by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. We surely hope that you will do that. Of course, every Friday we run a video of all the folks who have given as members of our Bring the Funk fan club. We will do so on Friday as well. Our numbers, we're up to, I think it's about 1,400 to 1,500. I'm going to get actually those numbers. Our goal is to have 20,000 of our fans in the course of a year give on an average of $50 each. Some folks have actually given $100 or $500. We appreciate all those donations. We want you to also do so because every dollar actually makes this a reality. Okay, later in this week, folks, I had a one-on-one with comedian Ali Sadiq, but trust me, we laughed, but he broke down some serious stuff and what it was like when he was in prison in Texas. It's one of the best interviews I've ever done. That says a whole lot. Y'all don't want to miss that interview. I can't wait to have it for you. Got to go. Thanks a lot, Avis, Michael, Monique, Eugene. Thank you so very much. Holla!